Good morning. It's Pause with Elizabeth and Elizabeth Elenor. And this morning I wanted to talk to you about your thoughts. Are your thoughts really your thoughts? Now, this is a tricky one and it's a little bit convoluted because we think that our thoughts are ours because they feel like they're being generated from us, right? But here's the thing, thoughts are, what I see is one of the purest forms of energy, right? As soon as you have a thought, it goes out. It's active. It sort of expands our world. It creates things. It's, there's a thought, you have a thought to move, so you move. You have a thought about, you have a vision and a thought, and it creates a feeling. Thought is a powerful experience. But here's the thing about thoughts. Thoughts can also be not yours. They are looking for a host sometimes because thoughts can be parasitic. Let's break this down. So I want to share what happened to me. And this has happened before. This is part of being an empath, part of being intuitive, part of being spiritual, I suppose, is that you pick things up. And people pick things up all the time, and often they're unconscious of it. So I want to break it down. It's been something that I have been aware of, so I'm pretty good at this sort of stuff. I went and hung out with someone the other day, and through the process, when I got home, it took me a little while to work, like I think it was maybe 5-10 minutes when I got home. I noticed that my energy was different. I noticed that I was a little bit anxious. My body was feeling, a little bit of a nervous sort of energy to it. It was vibrating at a different frequency, if I'm going to use my language. Now, straight away, I'm able to go, okay, what's going on? What have I picked up? And I checked, and I'd picked up what some people would call an entity. But the thing is, entities have, like, the word entity has got such a bad rap, right? The definition of it has been used over time to create thoughts of evil, create thoughts of, like a spirit like this attached to you, which is potentially sometimes what happens. However, thoughts can be an entity too, right? Different frequencies. And I like to neutralize the experience by saying that it's a frequency, not giving it a name, giving it an identity as if there's something to be concerned about. When you neutralize the experience, straight away you're moving into this space of allowing yourself, you're not attaching yourself and going into fear, going into worry, going into doubt, overwhelm, all of the lower vibrational thoughts or emotional frequencies that bring more of the same. Because these energies are just a frequency, and I would not have been able to, I would not have been able to host it if I didn't have that frequency inside me. From a neuroscience point of view, we have, mirror neurons, right? So I had to have the same frequency within me, the same belief, the same emotion, an event that had happened that created those thoughts, that definition, whatever it was that was in me. And in this particular case, it was a belief. I had to have that within me for the parasite or the entity or the frequency, whatever you want to call it, the thought, to attach to me to create a different vibration within my frequency, right? So we often have thoughts, beliefs, definitions that aren't ours. And this is what all my work is about, is we come down to the planet as this pure being and come into this, gorgeous little body, and we're all in abundance, and we're magnified, and we're full of light. And slowly, 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 we get more connected to the matrix, right? To this illusion of separation, and it's a reality to a certain degree. We get caught up in this, not just from our external life, our external world, where we're taking in all the information from 0 to 12, but especially 0 to 3. We're taking in all this information like sponges, all of the thoughts, the beliefs, the feelings, the frequencies that are in our environment. So if you were in an environment that was full of love and support and unconditional love and all of that sort of stuff, you can still have challenges because your soul knows it. Like, if you're raised in a family that is very wealthy, you can still have shame around that because your soul knows that it needs to earn its, for want of a better word than earn, but it's got to take on, and earn's the only word I can think of, that growth, right? That, as we move through a job, we earn the right to be promoted, and it's sort of like that with our souls as well. Everything's mirrored, right? There's a reason for that mirroring. And so when we're in this environment, not only are we taking it in from our external, but our very DNA has the imprints of all of the generations prior to us that have held that particular vibration. Not just from a physical point of view, our, disease and all of that, like some people have got really great teeth because it's a disposition of their family, right? Some people have got weak teeth because it's a disposition of. We take all of that in, and we've got this DNA that's coded with information of our generations within this lineage, also the past lives that we've had, all also multidimensional, so that our DNA is full of information, and our pure soul is here to rectify, correct, shift the energy from what is lower vibrational thoughts, incorrect thoughts, old programming from experiences and events that have happened, to reminding us and remembering ultimately that we are the creators, that we are from source, that we are powerful beyond measure, all of those things, right? So the purity is there waiting for us to remember that. But this heaviness is holding us down from all of these beliefs, emotions, thoughts. And so you can have a thought that is from somebody else that's attached to you because it's a vibrational match within you. And so now you've allowed it. It's sort of like opening the door to an Airbnb, right? And allowing all of these thoughts to come in and rent free, right? And take up a spot in your energetic field because it's the right environment for that. And so that's what happened to me the other day. But because my energy, I've done so much work with 7 years of past life regression training, let alone all the other parts where I was facilitating, but I was also shifting things after that as well. And then, I did a process called EQT. 28 years I've been doing this stuff, right? And not just thinking about it, my journey was very, very isolated my soul knew that this time around, for whatever reason, this time around, it's to strip everything really fast. And so then getting recoding, and every time I do a recode on somebody or a group, I'm also recoding myself, right? Because we're not separate. And so as soon as I have something come into my field, I can feel it because I'm so aware of my own vibration that I can feel when something foreign comes in. However, you've got to have a clean field to be able to decipher that. And so it's part of the hosting of other thoughts is, one, maybe you're not grounded, right? That could be a possibility, and I have a feeling that that was me at the time, just from the nature of the conversation I was having. Uh, it also explains why empaths and intuitive women often confuse what they're perceiving as energy, and they own it, right? As soon as you own it, now it's become part of your field. So not every thought that crosses your mind is yours. Sometimes you're just tuning into a collective frequency around you, and because you have the same vibration somewhere in your field, it can attach like a parasite, right? And so what can you do about it? What can you do about it? So let's talk about how we can shift this. Some of the times is, and I teach this to my clients all the time, when you're on social media all the time, if you wake up, that very first hour when you wake up should be your time off. No social media, no devices. As much as you can, you should be in your own energy. When you start scrolling, now you can be picking up other information. So other thoughts. You can be picking up stuff from your environment, and including your phone, right? Or your computer. So when you feel like you're not quite yourself, one of the things you want to do is pause and take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. As soon as you do that, you start coming back into your body, right? You start grounding in. It just gives you that little bit of time for your soul to sink back down into the ground, into its body, and place your hand on your heart and ask yourself some things like, does this thought feel familiar or does it feel foreign? And just wait and pause for the answer, because your higher self will give you the answer, or you'll feel it in your body, right? Does it carry your emotional signature or somebody else's? Now, just asking that question, you will also get an answer. You'll feel it in your body. And asking yourself, did it arrive suddenly after a certain interaction, which is what happened for me, after scrolling, or was it somewhere in your environment? You will feel the truth in your body. So what you can do is you can actually ask and say, this is no longer something that I choose to experience, and I return this back to source energy, right? Return it back. People say return back to sender. I personally believe return it back to source energy, or the source that it came from, right? Because sometimes it's not actually the sender that it actually came from originally, and so now you're doing some sort of karmic loop. So you want to actually return it back to its own source. What I say is return it back to its own source of authentic light, so that it's actually going back to the source where it came from. You don't want to give it back to someone if it wasn't theirs in the first place either, right? They were just toasting it and they didn't even realize. So this is one of the ways that you can clean your field and be aware of what is yours and what isn't yours. Today is 11/11 in 2025, right? So it's a completion year, and today is an 11/11 portal. We are hosting, that's funny, we're hosting a 5-day challenge called Intuition Unlocked, and it's a 5-day field cleanse, so absolutely appropriate for this sort of stuff. It's to look at different ways, 5 days of supporting you in what could be basic information, right? But sometimes people don't recognize the, what is it? Chop wood, carry water, right? It's the Karate Kid. Doing those things that are basic and consistent, but doing them really well, can make a huge difference in your energy field and support you to unlock your intuition so that you can hear it with a more clarity, without the brain fog, all of those things. So it started today. First email was at 6:30 this morning. However, it's not too late to jump in. You can grab it. Basically, it's 5 days of videos that I've created and sent as an email. So it's a nice little challenge. You don't have to do anything except for watch these. I think they're, between 5 and 10 minutes each video, and it gives you a breakdown of some of the things that I do to support me to be an intuitive empath, to do this as my work, to have that clarity, understand where my energy is compared to where somebody else's is. When something attaches, I can feel it straight away. All of those things are to support you to really step into what I call spiritual lightness, where you are just you, instead of holding on the weight and the heaviness of all of the past generations, all of anyone that's on social media that you're attaching to, any of your family, friends. You can pick things up in shopping centers, in houses and cars and blah, 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 blah. You can pick things up very quickly. We are a complicated being, guys. So if you're interested, I'm telling you, the 5-day field cleanse is perfect for anyone that is is just feeling heavy, right? Heavy, brain fog, wants some clarity, wants to support themselves to understand their intuition a bit more, to decipher the difference between their thoughts, all of those things. And it's super easy, and it's free, by the way. So that sounds like you put unlock into the comments, and we will send you the link. It starts today, and I will catch you next Tuesday. Mwah.